All right, just getting started here. Let me hit the live on the Instagram. Yes, the Instagram. Double check my feed on YouTube. Making sure the live says live. Might have an echo here. One of these days I'll have a consolidated service that brings it all together. Uh-oh, but they put the wrong title in here. Wrong title. That's okay. That happens. Hey, come on. Hurry up and load. The page doesn't load. Service that. There we go, finally. Okay, nice. Okay. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining me. It's been a privilege having so many people jump in on these conversations, especially as they come in late at night. And so we're just going to stick with the ASMR theme. This is political ASMR on the Political Cow Show. So no reason to shout about stuff, no reason to yell about anything here. In fact, I'm going to try to, after we run through the stuff I want to cover, try to talk about, or no, I'm going to try to talk with some folks. I'll change screens, bring up my TikTok. Should give you guys a glimpse of that right now if you want to see it. And we'll see about getting this up and running for everybody. Wait, what happened? All right, well, there goes that. I guess no Instagram stream. No Instagram. Okay, I don't know what's up with that. All right, hang on, guys. I got to shut this down and start over again. For whatever reason, every time I jump on the Instagram, it decides to think that I'm trying to spam or something. It instantly shuts me down. I'm going to have to send them a message or something to give them a heads up that their system's a little too tight with that stuff. I don't know if it's like some of these banners that I've got glowing here that have some animation to it or something. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm going to pause now, hang out for a little bit. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to get my feed set up maybe. Well, actually, maybe I can do the feed right now over to the X platform. I don't know why it's saying the wrong title, but that's okay. We can fix that too. Will that work? Well, I guess I could turn that one off first. But like I was saying earlier, I'm going to bring up my app, my TikTok app, and just live stream, through it and just broadcast it out there. I'll do a couple of things. I'll try to have folks come in and, be part of my hosted show on TikTok Live. And depending on the response rate or whatever that comes through, I could then, of course, just go into somebody else's show and just comment on that. And then I'll watch the chat if there's somebody, if there's something that catches your attention as we're swiping through, watching different people's programs. If you want me to jump in on, add some commentary or what have you. We won't do it as a joke. It'll be real thoughts on it. I'm not going to just throw one-liners that people put in the chat necessarily. That'd probably be counter to the ASMR theme that we got going here, because it is a little bit late and we are trying to just chill out here. But at the same time, think through some of these things going on in politics. Let me check my feed over on the X platform, see if that worked out. Maybe I don't have to cancel the stream. I could just get going here. Is that right? Nope, did not work. Okay. Well, looks like we got some spam going on in the messages. Sorry about that, folks. I was looking at a couple of other screens there. All right. Let's jump into it. Restart now with a little bit of theme song. All right. Very good. One of these days, that'll be the first thing that runs just for a minute or two, and then we'll jump into the content. I do want to see if I can get myself to the inauguration somehow. So I appreciate the folks that did send a couple gifts my way. I don't have any other mechanism right now. That's the only thing that I've got going. We'll look and see if I can get some affiliate programs and other things going too that can kind of have mutual value, add some, commission on some products or something. But anyway, because if I get there, just be full of battery packs, have a couple of phones going just to record everything that's going on. Try to do a bunch of live streams just to give people a look at what's happening on the ground out there. Similar to what we did at the Harris rally, but at the Harris rally, of course, reception was bad. I ran into a few other problems. So I'm going to take some lessons from that session and just make the next one even better. So anyway, help me out trying to get to the inauguration. But for today's main content, you'll see the image of the day. I've got a road that is basically splitting two different ideologies. To the left, you have a series of FEMA trailers, off into the expanse. And to the right, you have larger homes, manicured lawns, well-to-do folks. And I think that's symbolic of the left versus right. What do they want for you? What is the difference between equality and equity? Right? Everyone has the same outcome. Everyone gets the same resources versus everyone has a shot, to really make something, and you can fail and there's safety nets, but you continuously take risks and have a shot to kind of do something big, right? So it's a bit of a different thought process that goes in on that. But let's click through Political ASMR number 6. Oops. I don't know what taint means, Cody. I'm kind of old. I don't know all these words anymore. Anyway, but I think America is moving to the right, generally speaking, with these ideals and these principles of being able to become self-sufficient, create a system. That's the problem right now. The system's not quite right. They've done so much to kind of derail individuals, not allowing you to really be able to participate in, the stock market's going up big time, but unless you're an investor, how is everybody able to participate in that and take advantage of the economy being good, if it is in fact good? Yes, Amber Heard did blame the dog. I watched that trial religiously. I will watch it again. It is some of the best TV out there. Dixon Maya's what's going on. Birthday shout out for you. All right, so let's just scroll down a little bit. So they're pushing pretty hard now on each of the nominees that Trump has put out there, pushing pretty hard on a common set of talking points. You'll see it MSNBC, CNN, the DNC, all throughout the different politicians. It's like they get the same email every morning, or they get the same alert on their phone from the DNC app or whatever, and it says, hey, we really got to push the idea of a Russian agent with folks. So Tulsi Gabbard, who was just a congressperson, did a lot of activities as part of the Democrat Party. In fact, I think she held a pretty senior position in the Democrat Party for a while. Let me ask my AI real quick. Hang on a second. See if I could spin that up. Get it to respond to my question here. Hello, are you awake? Come on, buddy. It's like so slow right now. What's up with this thing?
Masood, how can I brighten up your late night?
Hey, can you tell me what senior position in the Democrat Party that Tulsi Gabbard held?
Tulsi Gabbard was a U.S. representative from Hawaii, serving as a Democrat from 2013 to 2021. During her time in Congress, she didn't hold a formal senior position within the Democratic Party, but gained prominence for her independent views and run for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. She's since stepped away from the Democratic Party. Curious where this goes next?
Actually, let me ask you a different question. Which is more appropriate to say? Is it Democrat Party or Democratic Party?
Democratic Party is the correct term. Democrat Party is often used in a pejorative sense, so it's not the preferred or formal name. When referring to the U.S. political party, go with Democratic Party. Does that clear it up?
Thanks. All right. Well, I'd have to look up somewhere. I thought she held, one of those positions. She wasn't like the chair for the DNC or anything like that, but something maybe one or two levels below that. In any case, she's done a lot of things throughout her political life, right? And I would say there have been enough people that have been interacting with her that were Democrats that know her to a fair degree that could probably vouch for her and say she's 100% America. She's served in the military. She's committed to making our country better. There is no way that she is a Russian asset. But that doesn't stop Elizabeth Warren and some other folks here. Let's listen into her. Listen into her comments and think about it.
His whole questions like Tulsi Gabbard does. You really want her to have all of the secrets of the United States and our defense intelligence agencies when she has so clearly been in Putin's pocket? That just has to be a hard no.
When she has been in Putin's pocket this whole time, as though she's getting paid. I mean, what is this? Sorry, I have to take care of some messages there in the chat. So that was one more recently here, Elizabeth Warren. And then, of course, Wasserman Schultz never fails as well. She says it a little bit more like the tone that was in place back in 2016, which I find very surprising because you would think that you would learn lessons from your past, especially from a political standpoint. Learn lessons from that didn't work out very well. It's pretty much common knowledge at this point that people aren't buying into it. So why continue, right? But that doesn't stop her.
Tulsi Gabbard is someone who has met with war criminals, violated the Department of State's guidance, and secretly, clandestinely went to Syria and met with Assad, who gassed and attacked his own people with chemical weapons. She's considered to be essentially, by most assessments, a Russian asset, and would be the most dangerous.
Is that how you consider her? Is that what you consider her?
Oh, yes. There's no question.
Oh, yes. There's no question. That's how I consider her. Super problematic here, guys. Super problematic that they've already started on this chain. And it's not like it's somebody that's a complete outsider to the political system that, they can kind of take advantage of people not knowing them. They're not having an extensive history as to different things they've done. not having already been put through different levels of scrutiny and clearances based on the committee assignments that they'd had. So she's well vetted. I think it's, it's a long shot at this point. Really desperate stuff for them to kind of take this approach on things. But it's not going to stop there, right? Kash Patel, I think, is a critical one. Next time, I'm going to do some research and bring up Kash Patel here. Hey, Brexit to the exit. Nice. Are you in the UK? Brexit, or in Britain? Brexit to the exit. So, Kash Patel is an interesting one that I want to look into his background a little bit more. I'm going to play some of his words here that he, expressed that are really catching the liberal group folks on the panel here off guard, and then watch the response that's given. I mean, there's a few themes that always seem to surface. One is centered around Russian asset, not being for the United States, actively working against the United States in some capacity. Then there's also this idea that they're not qualified, not well educated, or just lacking experience in some way. And the education piece is something that always kind of stands out, because you'll hear them in other contexts speak about how the uneducated are the ones that voted Trump into office. They hold themselves up a little bit higher. It's pretty narcissistic stuff, but let's listen into what Kash talks about here.
Kash Patel, he's a fierce Trump loyalist, as we all know, but he has said some rather provocative things over the years. I want to play some clips. Watch this.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
What do you think of his chances of getting confirmed?
So that was some pretty intense stuff that he was talking about there. He wanted to effectively upend the FBI as it is now. And even in that, you see a couple of principles kind of being shown. The idea that the bureaucracy is fine to just sit there and kind of do business with itself all day long. That needs to get cut out. There's more important things to get to. And like you were saying, he wants those 7,000 people to actually do real work, go in the field, help people out, chase criminals down, right? Bring them to justice. He wants that kind of behavior, not, I'm just going to sit at my desk whole day, maybe grab some coffee, take it easy. This is kind of a cush job. That's what he's after. That's what he wants to change, because eventually you give 7,000 people these really simple, easy jobs, pay them super well, then who's out there? That's when you start having a deficiency of agents. You need more resource, right? And that battle is endless at that point.
By the U.S. Senate.
So that question has come up a lot this week when I've been on Capitol Hill talking to senators about this, not only about people like Kash Patel, but Tulsi Gabbard to be the Director of National Intelligence, Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General, Pete Hegseth to be Defense Secretary. So I will say that there is going to be a lot of pressure on these Senate Republicans to back Donald Trump's nominees, regardless of the controversy surrounding them. It's not only going to be pressure from Donald Trump, who is unlikely to back down from his picks, but also there is the online and Trump coalition pressure campaign that has really consistently put pressure on the Senate Republicans. There are threats to primaries of some of these people, for Senate Republicans as well. And so this is going to be a huge test for Senate Republicans on what they're going to do with some of these nominees.
Yeah, it's going to be a nerve-wracking situation. Megan Hayes, Republicans say Trump has a mandate to make picks like Kash Patel. How do you respond to that?
I mean, yes, he did win the White House, and they do have majority in the Senate and in the House, very slim margins. I'm not sure that it's a mandate as they are thinking it is, but it just doesn't mean we pick incompetent people to run major departments that determine our government.
Okay, and there it is. Incompetent people, hiring incompetent people to run major departments. Again, the level of intelligence, the associated level of education, all of that being brought into the mix as to why Republicans and the people that they hire or they associate with are just not good people, and they're not qualified to make decisions for themselves. And so we need the government to step in and make decisions for them. So we need to take more tax revenue from these folks and then make decisions on their behalf. It might be pushing it a bit too far, but the narcissism, I believe, is there in how she's responding to people and what she's kind of saying that, you know, these people are clearly unqualified. She goes on a little bit further.
It impacts so many people. So where, yes, he may have a mandate that he won, but that you still should be putting people in charge who are capable of doing the job and are qualified of doing the job.
You used to work, Lauren.
So then she closes it out. You need to put people capable and qualified to do the job in there. And I think Trump has been pretty clear that he does not want to have the same types of individuals in there. He doesn't want, lifelong bureaucrats or what have you to be put into those spots and then continue, the ways that have been in place that we all complain about. You want somebody that can be a change agent, that will call things out, that will incite some sort of a shift in how they conduct business, right? Try to simplify things, try to make things a little bit better, whatever it might be.
The U.S. Senate on the Intelligence Committee, right? So what's your assessment right now?
So my assessment is more of a political one at this point, which is he does feel like he has a mandate. And then the question is, and I think the big takeaway from this election is the people wanted change. So what is qualifications? We're all sitting in D.C. saying that these qualifications need to come from a place of experience, and we measure it in a certain way. Donald Trump's coming in and saying, we're going to blow this up. And you see this from the Dodge, efficiency committee that he's put together and a lot of these other things. And my question...
She actually did call Dodge, but that's okay. We'll figure her.
How do we actually determine in this new mandate what is qualified and what isn't? Because I think that that's going to be what Trump is going to say is, I don't want people that go in and can maneuver the bureaucracy and pull these levers. I want people to go in and blow it up. And so that's what people elected him to do. And I think that's what you're seeing with a lot of these confirmation picks.
Very controversial ones. Jasmine Wright is with us. As you know, there's a major fight that's brewing in the House Ethics Committee right now, whether or not to release this.
So, again, so much discussion, so many talking points, so much negativity around somebody who may be a potential selection. Hasn't been announced formally yet, but they're putting a lot of heat on him to hope that maybe he'll back out, maybe he won't want to do it, and the Democrats can keep their people in place and keep them in power. And this is going to continue to happen. It'll continue to happen across the board. If you go to my site, politicalcow.com, you'll see the entire inventory. There's 27 or so as of today that I've captured in there who have been appointed to various positions. So, all things considered on that, I had a bit of nostalgia today. We've reviewed the concession speeches by Biden and by Kamala Harris. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Harris and Biden had concession speeches, although there's only one of them that was running at that point against Trump. Trump gave some interesting remarks during his acceptance speech, but I wanted to go back to the inauguration, his last inauguration, and some of the messages that he put out there, and thinking about the actions that he took and how those things are kind of looked at very narrowly to try to fit some other kind of narrative, right? And so it's not just a right or a left thing in doing this type of thing. Anybody that starts taking things out of context deliberately and deliberately not seeking out more information or encouraging others to, so that they can just push some sort of narrative, something that is derogatory towards another, maybe negative, in diminishing their standing with their community or their constituents that voted for them. That kind of stuff we need to, as much as possible, move away from. But here he is during the inauguration. speech I liked.
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Did I get that one right, Tony?
Chief Justice Roberts, President Carter, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, fellow Americans, and people of the world, thank you. We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come.
I gotta pause it, say hello to a few folks in the chat here. Aloha from Hawaii. What's going on, Mello? Jewish Pickle, what's going on? Nice to have you back here. Yeah, they dubbed this the American Carnage. Listen in, because I thought there were really good messages here. There was good messages in the acceptance speech. I'll get that one next up, but let's listen in and kind of highlight those key moments.
We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. And we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
And so some people might get on there and be like, you know, what the heck is he talking about? It's smaller government. It's all those themes that come into play in that comment. Smaller government, which as a precursor to that is reduced taxation, reduced spend on all these programs. Because when you have the opportunity to take infinite money in, you can very much, you know, deploy it towards things that are not of high value, things that really won't benefit the people or just benefits a subset of folks, you know, so on and so forth. So it's those kind of things that he's referring to. It's not something exclusive to just his voters or what have you. It's that principle of keeping government small.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. It belongs to everyone gathered here today and everyone watching all across America.
More context. This is how I view the rise of Trump personally. The financial crisis that happened 09, 08, I mean, it started cracking 08, and then 09, things really came to a head. And then they had to print hundreds of billions of dollars just to keep the banking system afloat. So in doing that, it angered a lot of people because the moral hazard that came into play is, do you bail out the banks or do you bail out the individuals with the bad mortgages? And of course the banks won that equation, which is weird if you think about it, because that money that they just gave to the banks, had they given to individuals and they paid their homes off, well, that payment would have went to the banks anyway. I don't want to get too deep into that thought process, but people are just not happy with how things were done. You know, the big corporation, big banks were favored far more than individuals were. And as a consequence, a Tea Party movement started up. And that Tea Party movement gained a lot of momentum. It was not related to the Occupy Wall Street movement. That was, I think, more of a left angle on things to do that type of protest. But you could kind of see both left and right at that point were kind of aligned as to not being super excited about how the government was dealing with the financial crisis and with the outfall of everything that had went down. How are they really helping individuals? It seemed like everything that was being done would prop up markets, prop up banks, so forth. Yeah, Dan, XRP, shoot, I should have bought that thing when it was like, divided by 4 ago. So Tea Party came into power. They got some folks elected into Congress, but it really didn't make as much of a dent as they'd hoped for. And the mainstream Republicans, I think they felt like, okay, we kind of dodged that bullet. We have these folks under control. We put them on a committee. I think that's about the same time like Ted Cruz and some of the other folks came into play. But the mainstream Republicans at that time thought, okay, the worst is over. And then the 2016 election came up, and they had all the establishment Republicans there, all the ones that fit the bill for a traditional president. Jeb Bush, I thought, was like the big front runner there. And then all of a sudden you had Donald Trump show up, giving unconventional answers, reacting in a non-politician way, right? Making fun of the other candidates on the stage, belittling them. But all of those things that they did effectively were how everyone felt about each one of those individuals out there on the stage. Nobody wanted any of those other Republicans. They were all a part of that system that created the financial crisis, the one that favored banks over people. All of that sentiment kind of shifted and drew itself into Trump, because for a number of years before that, people wanted the Republican Party to, completely turn itself upside down and clean house, start over. And so he offered that. And honestly, that's the big reason that I voted for him the first go around. It took him a while to do it, but this is the kind of stuff that he's talking about here, that it's the party for you. When he was talking about swamp, all that kind of stuff, that's where he was going with these things, in my view.
This is your day. This is your celebration. And this, the United States of America, is your country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people and a righteous public. But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities, rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation, an education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge.
Oh, man, I was on mute this whole time. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading through the chat here. So, Obelisk, interesting your perspective here, saying that Trump 2020 onward is a tainted individual. What is that? What is tainting him? That's curious to me. And after we kind of run through some of this stuff, I'm going to try and pull up TikTok on here. So if anybody wants to jump in on that side of the stuff, and we'll still broadcast it here through YouTube, but you can kind of directly jump in. Last time I tried to do it, I got a violation. Again, I have no idea what's going on with that, but hopefully better luck this time.
And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
I think that's a pretty key moment right there. I've heard it in different contexts. I think he said that in other settings, but that's a pretty key line that's been repeated. Yeah, I do think that the J6 folks are going to get freed pretty soon.
We are
here.
one nation, and their pain is our pain. Their dreams are our dreams, and their success will be our success. We share one heart, one home, and one glorious destiny. The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. For many decades, we've enriched foreign industry at the expense of American industry, subsidized the armies of other countries while allowing for the very sad depletion of our military. We've defended other nations' borders while refusing to defend our own. And spent trillions and trillions of dollars overseas while America's infrastructure has fallen into disrepair.
I'm going to pause it real quick and bring up a different article I had just found out about. So a former NFL player, I don't know if they'll show the images here, but they, get out of here. They matched him as somebody at the Capitol, and they're charging him. Do they show the images here? Okay, they don't have the images here. But, you know, this former Detroit Lions player, looks like he's got a Carolina helmet on right now, but he had like a special key that just kind of hung from his belt, and that's what they used to identify him with. And I'm just thinking, how much effort did folks go through to find this guy out and about? And yet they're hauling him in now, you know, so many years later, for what? The footage that was out there showing it just seemed like he was just standing outside. He was just there. hopefully this can kind of be put to an end and we can work towards reconciliation and healing a little bit. I think a lot of that stuff just went a little too far. And by too far, I'm talking about the persecution of people and, chasing them down and completely destroying their lives. I mean, there's been a number of them that have gone on shows and stuff and talked about how, they didn't do anything and they sat in prison for a while. They weren't really treated well. And then eventually they were able to kind of leave and they were let go. But it took a lot of effort and processing for that to happen.
And decay. We've made other countries rich, while the wealth, strength, and confidence of our country has dissipated over the horizon. One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions of American workers that were left behind. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes and then redistributed all across the world.
All right, so that was an interesting line right there. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from them, and it's being redistributed all around the world. So we are taxing the middle class heavily at this point in time. And you could kind of equate that to a lot of the foreign aid that's going out there. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at some of the posts going to the new Doge agency. Hold on, let me pull it up, see if they got some up there. Some of the things that they've already highlighted as government waste are just completely ridiculous. Is this? No, it's not it. Here at Doge. Conveniently, that's the Twitter handle. It's literally Doge. Let's see. Nope, they're not listing it. Rand Paul Doge. All right, so this is some of the items that Rand Paul was bringing up. Okay, let's get it back. Just play this clip for you. But I mean, some of these things are out there just outrageous. I don't think anyone can really defend them.
One of my other all-time favorites from the National Science Foundation, this kind of goes back to William Proxmire and love and happiness. They wanted to know if you take a selfie of yourself while smiling and you look at it later in the day, will that make you happy? Really? That's $500,000. I don't think we need a scientist to say that that's BS and the government's got no business doing this kind of research. I don't even know how you can even call this research with a straight face. But it goes on, year on, year on. And you think we've been complaining about this since 1972. You think maybe we'd have less of it. We're giving them more money. So we're now increasing their budget by 68% despite this kind of research. The last one I have is this. We spent $1.3 million on insect ranching. This is money that was sent to study whether or not we could put insects into animal feed. We spent another $3 million, though, wanting to know if humans would eat ants to prevent climate change. What will you do, America, to combat climate change? Will you eat ants to combat climate change? That was a study. This is not science. This is ridiculous in nature. Actually, I lied. I've got one more example.
He's got another one.
We spent $1.5 million studying lizards on a treadmill. So I know you've all been curious. When lizards walk and they kind of waddle and they have a funny walk, why do they walk that way? What's going on in their knee joints? What do their hip joints look like when they waddle across the lawn? Everybody wants to know that. But are you willing to spend $1.5 billion of your taxpayer dollars to take x-rays, live, real-time x-rays of a lizard walking on a treadmill? I tend to think, maybe Alzheimer's research.
Mello, that might be the chat of the night. Nice use of the little emojis there.
Maybe cancer research, maybe heart research, but spending good hard cash on x-rays of a lizard on a treadmill do not strike me as the most pressing concerns of government.
Yeah, so this is just tip of the iceberg, these three items. I mean, the list goes on. The study of transgender monkeys is one that I heard $500,000 for that. Creating I think it was like a superhero, like graphic novel of some kind for kids in Pakistan. I was like, why? Why do we want to do that? Why let somebody else do that? Isn't that like a private thing? Like somebody writes a book so that they can sell it. I mean, the list goes on. And they're not all happening here. Some of these are programs that happen, overseas as foreign aid. And I'm sure anybody over there that's like, yeah, sure. I'll write a book for you. No big deal. Send me that $2 million. Obelisk, why are you concerned about the 2 trillion or the 3 trillion? I think he said 2, actually. I think he said 2. Let me see. We could probably find it here. How much?
And then I'm getting out of here because this is your stage. But we set up Doge.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
Yes.
So 2 trillion is quite a bit. But then, of course, you hear other statistics that the Department of Defense has an unaccounted for 2.6 trillion of assets. Right? How do you not have an account of that many assets? What's going on behind the scenes there? And the list goes on from there. Every year, and this is the government talking about this. This isn't my number, right? Actually, let me ask the AI. It'll probably...
Hey, Masood, how's the human world tonight?
Hey, can you tell me how much money the government loses to fraud every year?
It's tough to pin down an exact figure. Fraud schemes are always evolving, and the impact varies. In the U.S., hundreds of billions of dollars are annually lost to fraud across programs, including healthcare, unemployment, and tax fraud, to name a few areas. It's a big challenge that governments everywhere are constantly working to combat. What's your take on it? How do you think we could tackle fraud more effectively?
So hundreds of billions. The number that I'd seen specifically was 500 billion, $500 billion. So, and it's not that some of these are all through schemes and they're difficult to kind of unravel, and you'd have to bring in some, specialists to help, figure out how the accounting works or anything. Some of these are just, people writing invoices for things that they never deliver on, right? Those should be fairly easy to call out and find, but people don't make an effort to do that. So you look at that $500 billion right there that's gone in fraud. You look at the Defense Department having no account for 2.6 trillion of its assets, which then makes you think, okay, on an annual basis, how much of its budget does it not have full account of? You just go down the list of things and it adds up pretty quick. And to think that that much money is being wasted, that's being taken from us, right? Obelisk is asking, when you say that or they are reducing spending or cutting jobs, I think those people are... I think you're highlighting that it will mean job cuts, which is true. And Elon has said it's going to require some near-term pain in order for this to kind of go through. The aspect of it that I think is very interesting is that he is already committed to 2 years of severance for any displaced government employees. So you worked at the IRS, Social Security, Department of Defense, you're an administrator there, whatever your job was, and if it's deemed to be unnecessary, because let's be honest, a lot of things can get automated now. A lot of things AI can kind of take over. If that is the case, then they give you 2 years of severance for you to go and find your next path. And I think that is really fair. I don't think anybody anywhere gives 2 years of anything. I mean, typically a lot of the Fortune 50 companies, if they do some downsizing or what have you, they do offer severance 6 months, a year. The longest I've heard of was 1.5 years. But again, that's a very small subset of companies that even do something like that. And so en masse, he's going to offer 2 years of severance for these people, which is phenomenal. And it probably won't end there. It'll also include some additional educational budget, some headhunters, resume writers, so forth. I mean, they're going to set these folks up for success. You don't want to just have this brand new underclass of people that were taken out of government, right? You want them to contribute or shift their skills towards something that is in demand by the market. Just reading through the chat here, guys. My eyes are getting blurry again. Fortunately, bringing manufacturing back to America will create a plethora of jobs. Yeah, so Taiwan Semiconductor, right? The company that everyone's afraid of, not having access to their chips or their chips falling into China's hand. China saying that they're going to take over Taiwan. That's a big point of contention. They've actually committed to opening a plant in Arizona, and they've received about $6.6 billion of that CHIPS Act funding. The part that gets me, though, is, well, why are we giving non-American companies this CHIPS Act money? I thought the manufacturing wanted to come back was all American. Like, let's fund Intel, fund NVIDIA, fund stuff, more on our terms out here. Samsung is receiving money. Taiwan Semiconductor is receiving money. It's a little weird how that's all unfolding at this point. Yeah, so Obelisk, he's going to give them your comment here. I would hope if you're firing people that you pay them or move them to another job. He's not going to move them to another job, but he will give them a severance for 2 years. And I think in that amount of time, they should be able to find another path. All right, let me close this one out. Let's continue with Trump's inauguration. And we've got technical difficulties.
What a great honor to be nation's borders. We've made other countries rich, while the wealth, strength, and confidence of our country has dissipated over the horizon. One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions.
I'm going to ask my AI about severance. Let me see. Hey, are you there?
For you? Always. What's on your mind?
All right, guys, that was a little creepy. It gets really creepy. That was kind of creepy.
Happy to hear it. What's next?
Really? I told it was creepy, and it says it's happy to hear it. Okay. Well, I don't even remember what I was asking it. What was I asking it? What the heck was I asking this thing? Can you tell me what the typical severance is that a company offers employees during layoffs, or if severance is even something that's pretty common?
Severance Packages vary widely by company, industry, and the employee's role. It's fairly common for companies to offer severance, especially in layoffs, as a way to support employees during their transition. There's no universal standard, but it often includes a few weeks or months of pay based on tenure and position, plus additional benefits like health insurance coverage. Of course, these details can differ, and some companies may offer more or less generous packages. Have you been through a layoff, or are you just curious about how it all works?
Yeah, I've probably been more than 10 cycles at this point. But that's all. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, question, Obelisk asking me, am I pro AI taking jobs? I'm pro AI, and there may be consequences of that. We just need to figure out how to shift it properly. Tucker Carlson pointed out one interesting aspect, that if you go driverless for a lot of the trucks that go coast to coast, that's actually a massive, massive industry. A lot of people are part of that transportation industry. That would probably be one that you would not allow to get fully automated until you have a proper transition plan. So I am fully for AI. I mean, I use it every day, and it helped me out quite a bit. Just summarizing things, doing things more quickly. You have to verify it because it's not always right, but I'm all for it. In some instances, we may have to think through the consequences of its deployment. From Sal G says, from my experience, they only give you your vacation hours in the form of a check and unemployment. Yeah, Sal, it's really dependent on the organization and what they can offer. It's not something that's set by government policy or anything. Each company approaches it differently. So if you're in like a Fortune 50 company, they usually have a higher severance offering. For jobs, you don't think that's cool. So, there's people that their entire day is consumed with some finance analysts. They log into our enterprise reporting system, managing the financial ledger, and they will take a lot of inputs, make journal entries in this system, go run some reports, double check things. If you had AI, it could just do a lot of that stuff automatically. The problem we have right now is that a lot of these systems don't interact with each other or easily talk to one another, so we can't automate it very elegantly. But if you can have something that kind of acts as that person and does this work intelligently, I don't see why not. I mean, the problem that a lot of people have seen is offshoring, is this labor arbitrage that's been happening, and it continues to happen now. So AI is one thing, but there's been a continuous flow of jobs overseas because of cheaper labor overseas, and I think that is something that Trump's addressing. But our answer to that, to make us in the United States more competitive, is, in my view, is actually AI. Because why would you want to get labor arbitrage, and say get a 20% reduction in cost, when if you bring AI into the picture, you could probably get a 60, 70% reduction in cost on some of these, repeatable type activities. So when you do that, though, you need somebody to actually maintain and create that AI, and somebody to be an expert to help feed and, teach it, whatever it is, whatever subject that it's operating within. So, I mean, that's my thought on it, is that we should become a powerhouse in it. And this can undo a lot of that labor arbitrage that's happened over the last 20, 25 years. unless we live in a cashless society where jobs aren't really needed. Yeah, that would be too far into the future at this point for me. We're all going to need to find jobs that AI cannot do, like construction. Although, did you see Elon's robot? I mean, it's only a matter of time before that thing starts moving, starts getting a little bit more agility to it. The AI might end up fighting each other. There'll be AI basketball, AI football. Tin Man says, if you had a business that AI could save your money, wouldn't you use it even if it replaced employees? I would. In fact, you see McDonald's now moving more and more towards automation. Once their kitchen starts to go be more fully automated, that's going to be the next push, because a lot of, like California raised the minimum wage. How much did it raise the minimum wage to? Let me see. Hey, buddy, what did California raise the minimum wage to? Are you still there? I have to reset it. It like passed out on me here. But, you know, you have to do that commonly because...
I'm here.
Hey, what is California's minimum wage for fast food workers?
As of October 2023, California's minimum wage for fast food workers is $20 per hour. Quite a boost, huh? Do you think it'll make a big difference to fast food workers' lives?
Excuse me, guys. I'm a little congested. Yeah, at some point there's going to be a looming challenge. You're going to reach like an inflection point. Government might have to step in to kind of make it be a staged or a phased transition, so that people don't, you know, people's lives don't get disrupted. Things will be much more affordable. So what are you doing? It would be very affordable. I mean, imagine like Elon's robot, right? I think you can get one for 20,000, they said. I mean, it's kind of slow, but what if it could, you know, cook and, you know, do a bunch of tasks like that? I mean, I know they're saying household tasks, but translate that to a restaurant or translate that to a different environment. If something like that could do that work, and if it could do it consistently. Yeah, so to Melo's point, things would be much more affordable in that case. To completely replace workers would lead to economic crash. Yeah, so Obelisk, that's where it's like you got to think of it in terms of phasing, if it, how that might make sense. No job snake bonus. Yep, that's Saul and Obelisk. I get the dynamic there. That's a challenge. But even if companies can sell their products for less, this chat is basically saying screw them. Who are we saying screw? I don't think that we should be afraid of AI. Is just my bottom line. We got to think of how we can use it. How do you leverage it? I'm leveraging the voice chat feature. I'm leveraging the text interface. I'll give you an example. And I just did this as a trial. I went through and I double checked everything. We were interviewing somebody. I took 3 resumes. Well, actually, we were interviewing 3 people. I took the 3 resumes, uploaded it to the AI assistant, and I gave it quite a few criteria. Like, hey, can you first make a little table for me that summarizes the qualifications of each person, their education, their experiences, and tell me how that compares against the job description. And then why don't you go ahead and select somebody who on paper is the best match? And it did that. And I read through it and double checked things. It got the data right. I mean, it was all there. But it kind of made sense. Its thinking process. I didn't go with the suggestion it had. Because I mean, after you interview people, you get a whole different side that AI can't really interpret at this point. But it still did save a lot of time having a consolidated summary that was broken down into some pretty well or easily understood sections. So, I mean, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of what it's doing now. Oh, one insane. I may have missed your message, one insane. Where? You might have to type it again. I apologize. I don't see you. Yeah, Tin Man, you're actually right. We have a shortage nationally, I think, on HVAC. Well, plumbing too. It's just going to get worse. The rates are going to go up. So, I mean, it's a good spot to get into. And if you can kind of build a business and get a bunch of techs working for you and so forth, that'd be awesome. All right, let's get Trump going again here.
Of American workers that were left behind. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes and then redistributed all across the world. But that is the past. And now we are looking only to the future.
You know, that was a very kind of strong statement that happened throughout the 2016 election cycle. And immediately, day one, well, not just day one, post inauguration, as soon as he started talking about that, they equated it to racism and a lot of those other, marginalization type words, whatever they are, which I think was completely a political move on their part. I mean, there's not any real basis to it, but America First started becoming, a dirty word when in reality, all the things that he was talking about beforehand, strengthening middle class, making sure people don't get left behind. You go down the list of things, that's what he's talking about. That's like, let's take care of these things for our people first. Let's give that priority. Doesn't mean you stop everything. It just means we give some stuff priority, right?
Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. Protection will lead to great prosperity and strength. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. America will start winning again, winning like never before. We will bring back.
So, Boss Eddie. Oh, wait. One insane. You came back. What was your question? Can I see your message? Oh, that was your message? Okay. All right. Later, buddy. All right. So, Boss Eddie says he's wrong about tariffs. There's no going back to how things were. Even if manufacturing does come back, the jobs will be done by robots. It's true. I mean, if there's a facility that had, say, 10,000 people working at it, maybe a tenth come back. Maybe less than that. Maybe 5% of it comes back. But the bottom line is, though, that stuff's coming back. And it's not just the people that work there at the facility. It's also the people that, manage the equipment, the technology behind the scenes that is operating everything. So there's a lot of new and different jobs that become available and then get put into play. So it's not going to be a one for one. I mean, when the jobs moved overseas, like one person might have turned into three because labor is so cheap, and they don't automate because, again, labor is so cheap. They can just have them, pick up more work, or do more things, because they can just get the people for like a dime a dozen or something. So it's true. When things come back, it's not going to be a one for one. It won't be the same. But the important thing is that it is coming back. And in order to prepare for that, maybe there's a shift that we need to make in terms of the skill sets that people have, maybe more geared towards automation, whatever it might be.
Our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. We will build new roads and highways and bridges and airports and tunnels and railways all across our wonderful nation. We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor.
Just from a principle standpoint, I think that's a good stance to take to kind of help push people to get back into the workforce and to, figure out how to contribute.
We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American. We will seek friendship and goodwill with the nations of the world, but we do so with the understanding that it is the right of all nations to put their own interests first. We do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example. We will shine for everyone to follow.
I think that's a nice clarification of America first as well. Is that his expectation is that every country puts themselves first, and then you come together and see where you have some mutually beneficial thought processes or needs, and you can kind of really kind of get around something like that. But I mean, this part never gets recognized, right? A lot of times Democrats, others will say, oh, he's America first at any cost, and he'll just run right over the rest of the world. But he's saying he wants them to have the same mentality so that they take care of their people and do the right thing for them, right?
We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. At the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America. And through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
Interesting. I don't remember this part of his speech.
The Bible.
Sending this out. When you open your heart to patriotism, no room for
The Bible tells us how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable. There should be no fear. We are protected, and we will always be protected. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement. And most importantly, we will be protected by God. Finally, we must think big and dream even bigger. In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving. We will no longer accept politicians who are all talk and no action, constantly complaining but never doing anything about it. The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. Do not allow anyone to tell you that it cannot be done. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. It's time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator. So to all Americans in every city, near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. God bless America.
So I thought it was a pretty good message that went through. It didn't really get the attention it deserved at the time. A lot of times people think of Trump as very negative and calling people out on their appearance, calling them names, so forth. But you could clearly see in the speech, he just focused on his intents as to what he wants to see happen for the country, the outcomes he's after for people. Unfortunately, even though the Republicans at that time had, the entire government in their hand, there were still quite a few legacy establishment Republicans in place that threw a wall up and stopped him. So a lot of times you hear Democrats saying, "Oh, he didn't do anything," or he said he was going to do this and he didn't do it. It's increasingly difficult when you don't know the network of individuals, right? He has a bigger network now. He knows everybody. He basically runs the party. It is the party of Trump at this point in time. But back then, the resistance that the Democrats are talking about, it went all the way to Republicans. They were just as resistant to him as the Democrats were. And so as a consequence of that, they stifled a lot of the things that he wanted to do that maybe even they felt, well, maybe it's not that they felt it was too extreme. I think it was counter to their donors, counter to a lot of things, special interests that they had already made commitments to, right? Closed room deals. And so it's his realization of that over time, even during the election cycle, that's where he started talking about the swamp, where you have these individuals that are just in plates and they're entrenched and they're just a swamp monster that's just, just leeching out of anything that kind of comes through. Eventually that fixed itself, but it cost them a couple of years of progress. Paul Ryan, of course, famously, he Speaker of the House, no longer Speaker of the House, and did not go for re-election at that point. Because it became pretty clear that by the midterms that he was the one that was really orchestrating a lot of the resistance to some of the policies and other things that Trump wanted to see through. This time around, they have an absolute mandate. So John Thune, Mike Johnson, in lockstep. If they can rally everyone else around to kind of follow suit, that's the big question, especially on the House of Representatives. The Senate, they've got enough seats to where that's probably never going to be a problem, but the House really needs to, stay in lockstep and be in sync on this stuff, because otherwise it'll be another major missed opportunity. And I think Trump does not have any patience for this anymore. He just wants to get his things through there. Let's see some stuff in the chat. All right, so Obelisk says Obama had some struggles, and yet he was able to get Affordable Care Act through. What happened? What happened? Let me ask my AI. Probably be faster. Hey, are you there? Hey, Victor. Yes, the political ASMR is working. It had 150,000 viewers a few nights ago. 50,000, 10,000. I think tonight's might get like 6. It's probably because it's Saturday night. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I appreciate it. That's the thing now. It's all called political ASMR going forward now. But so for Obelisk, I'm going to ask the AI.
Hey, Masood, how's it going this late?
Hey, can you tell me if the Obama administration had both the Senate and House of Representatives Democrat?
For a good chunk of Obama's presidency, his party held both the House and the Senate. The Democrats had a majority in the Senate throughout his first term. In the House, they had control from 2009 until 2011. After that, it was split control. Quite the roller coaster, right?
When was the Affordable Care Act signed into law?
The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was signed into law on March 23, 2010. It marked a significant overhaul of the U.S. healthcare system. Quite the hot topic back then.
So,
what are your thoughts on it?
Assuming the AI's got the dates right, which it should, because these are not difficult data points to kind of dig through. Sounds like Obama had full control of all of Congress, so that they were able to push this through. There may have been some resistance by a few of the folks in their own party, but I'm sure they appeased them in one way or another. Yeah, thanks, Victor. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's going pretty good. I do want to try and do more of these during normal business hours. I've been trying to simulcast and stream to other providers at the same time. I just keep having technical issues. I test it out, it works okay, and then when I go try to link up everything to do it at the same time, it just doesn't work. I used to be able to stream to the X platform at the same time, and that just stopped working altogether. I don't know why. But usually these places, they don't have, there's no one to call to ask for help. You just fill out a form or you hit a button to give them feedback. All right. So that was Trump's inauguration speech. Now, think about that perspective. A lot of idealism. And now he was faced with the reality of what the Never Trumpers look like, the establishment Republicans that he had to dismantle and kind of retire them from service. That took quite a lot of effort to do. And you think of all the stuff that was thrown at him in 2020. I'm sure he's still thinking about the missing 10 million votes that are floating around out there. All that stuff, and think about that coming into this speech, because there's a lot of baggage coming into this acceptance, right? Here, let me get it going.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
Yeah, so there he goes with his tagline of "Make America Great Again." Just looking at the chat here, he has 2 years of no excuses. Sorry, I muted myself. That's absolutely right. He has not. It's not just that there's 2 years of control of the House and the Senate. The leaders, Senate Majority Leader, Speaker of the House, are both in lockstep behind him. They will follow his lead on this. And if something doesn't get done, I mean, someone's going to have to drop the hammer and, make sure that they don't get reelected or something, right? Make sure that their folks that are voting for him realize that, their dissent cost, some bill from passing or what have you. So, yeah, those 2 years are going to be critical. And I think that he's going to have a heavy hand in making sure that everything that he wants actually is followed through on. All right, Victor. So curious as to why draining the swamp wasn't a point in Trump's 2024 campaign like it was in 16. Also curious to see if any anti-corruption, anti-establishment policies being pushed. I haven't heard of any anti-establishment, anti-corruption policies that are being pushed. Maybe we all should start saying, hey, like, get the money out of politics. No more lobby money. Stop the stock trading stuff, right? All that stuff needs to end. Term limits, too, would kind of go hand in hand with that, in my view. But the draining of the swamp, I've heard him say it on a few of his speeches at different rallies. I don't think it's been broadcast on TV quite a bit. I don't think actually he says it as much as he did during the campaign speeches that he gives. Yes, Tin Man. So his appointees are not people that are going to keep status quo, right? They're there to shake things up. They have a mission. I think he's planned this in advance, and they've got like a playbook that they're going to be working against. Unlike 16, where they had to learn on the fly and then adjust, which they did. But honestly, that puts you in a that doesn't set you up to be in a position of power to run off of. And Tin Man says, actions speak louder than words. Yep. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's like if Kash Patel gets elected. So who's Kash Patel? Let me see. Hey, you there with me?
Right here with you, Masood.
All right. Can you explain to my live stream viewers who Kash Patel is?
Sure thing. Kash Patel is a former government official who served in various roles during the Trump administration, including as a senior aide in the National Security Council and the Department of Defense. He played a notable part in U.S. national security and intelligence matters during that time. Anything specific you want to know about him?
Excuse me, guys. I'm like stuffy here. So he's been around Trump, highly trusted, been a key advisor. And again, we played this earlier, but I'm just going to play it again here. His comments. I think everyone going into these different appointed positions are just taking a similar approach.
Kash Patel, he's a fierce Trump loyalist, as we all know, but he has said some rather provocative things over the years. I want to play some clips. Watch this.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
What do you think?
All right. So they haven't nominated him yet to be FBI director, but I think Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, a lot of those people will shake things up. Rubio will tweak things and adjust things, but having somebody a little bit more established and having a lot more experience, I think, speaks to the level of no change that needs to happen at the State Department. All right, so Obelisk says, so worst case scenario, not saying I'm looking forward to struggle, but if didn't improve anything for us his entire second term, then are you still a Trumper? The ideals and the principles behind it would not change for me. I'd be disappointed that he wasn't able to execute on it, if that makes sense. Yeah, we got good money out of politics, implemented term limits, and stopped trading from Congress. Our nation would be a lot better off. Pretty bipartisan, too. Most Americans support that. We are Trump or Republic. No administration yet. Yeah, so January 20th, that's what's coming up. The big inauguration. And I'm going to try and see if I can get there, have a few cameras, walk around the streets, talk to people, see where they're at. Because too many times you get the like the drone view of things, and then you see the president, but you don't really see a lot of the stories of what's happening on the side. If you've seen some of my lives, or live stream from the Kamala Harris rally that came through Houston. I mean, there was protests happening left and right. I didn't have a stable connection, so unfortunately didn't record everything on the live stream, but a lot of interesting stories happened along the way. So help me out a little bit if you guys can, but I am trying to make it to the inauguration. Then makes I'm not catching that last comment, Obelisk. Not following that. All right, let's keep going on this.
And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes, but it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And, winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments.
I guess I missed what OTK Obelisk does, but I didn't make that connection. Thanks, Tin Man, for clarifying that.
Of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people.
Hey, and if you guys haven't done so already, give the live a like. Didn't get as good of traction this evening. May have just been the timing of it. There might be more people coming online in an hour or whatever, just timing wise, but give the live a like if you guys can.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races. And I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job. Works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Yeah, so it's a OTK. If inaction, I don't think is going to be a problem, but just if he's clearly not focused on moving forward the things that he's committed to, I seriously doubt that's even going to be a reality, just given his style. Then that would be a problem to me.
And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Ushabez. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like, he's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it. And then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. We got Vance up now.
Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children, and after the greatest political comeback in American history.
Hey guys, I'm going to wrap this up right now. I'd like to maybe test my connections to some of the other networks, and then I'll be a little bit back on in a little bit. But I can't seem to make them connect while I've got this one going. So I'm going to shut everything down and then just try to individually connect to those other ones just to see if I could get things going here. Kind of run